Let me right. Okay, guys, so this is your system database, MSDB. Okay, so MSDB is mainly responsible for automation, guys. All the jobs information, if you create any jobs, we can create jobs, okay, from here, guys. Okay, all the jobs information, okay, and as well as maintenance plans information. Okay, so maintenance plans information, as of now I haven't created anything, so that's why you don't see anything. Okay, all the jobs information, maintenance plans information, these jobs and maintenance plans mainly will help you for the automation, guys. This automation related information will be stored in the MSDB, guys. This automation related information will be stored in the MSDB. Okay, so now tell me, if there is no MSDB or MSDB is corrupted, can I start my SQL Server or not? I need responses from everyone. Still, guys, four more people has to respond. Yes. Okay, so let me check the answers. Venkat Shiva said no. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, we can start. Okay, yes. So most all of you said it. Only one person, Venkat Shiva, said no. Remaining all said yes. Okay. So the answer is yes, guys. Okay. This time most of you are correct. Okay, the answer is yes. MSDB is only responsible for automation. So yes, even though MSDB is corrupted, you can still start the SQL Server, no issues. Okay, as when compared to other system databases, MSDB is not so important system databases, not so critical databases. First of all, it's important only, but not so critical database when compared to other system databases. Okay, so even though if my MSDB is corrupted, you can still start the SQL Server. Only automation related things won't work properly, jobs, okay, and your maintenance plans, these automation related stuff won't work properly, but nothing happened to your SQL server, you can happily start your SQL server, guys. Okay, so that is all about your MSDB. Okay, next is tempdb. So tempdb means what, guys? Tempdb will help you to process your data, guys. Okay, a single point, if you want to tell anything about the tempdb will help you, okay, to process the data, whatever process you are doing. Okay, say for example, initially we discussed about the SQL server, right? Definition of the SQL server: to store the data, process the data, retrieve the data, everything we discussed. Okay, that processing will be done by the tempdb. Inside the tempdb, the data processing will be done, guys. Inside the tempdb, the data processing will be done. So tempdb is very crucial database. How master is critical, how model is critical, in the same way tempdb is also very critical. Without tempdb, I cannot process the data, right? Without processing the data, there is no definition of SQL server. It will act as a RAM. Can you start your laptop without RAM? Is it possible?
No.
No.
No, sir.
Without RAM, I cannot start. RAM also will do the same thing. It will store the things temporarily. Okay, until processing is done, it will store the thing temporarily. Okay, processing will be done by the CPU, but until processing is done, the things will be stored inside the RAM temporarily. In the same way, okay, tempdb also will act, guys. Tempdb, the data processing and all will be done in tempdb. Okay, so tempdb will act as a RAM for your SQL server. Once the processing is done, once everything is completed, the data will be stored inside the tempdb temporarily, guys. The name itself is saying tempdb, means the data will be stored in the tempdb for temporary purpose. If you restart the SQL server, what happened, guys? A new tempdb will be created. This is very important. New tempdb will be created. Okay, if you restart the SQL server, whenever you restart the SQL server, a new tempdb will be created. New tempdb, new tempdb, new tempdb, new tempdb. Listen, remember this point. New tempdb will be created. Whatever existing tempdb will be dropped and new tempdb will be created whenever you restart your SQL server, whenever you start the SQL server, guys. Okay, so what is the proof? Let me show you. Okay, let me go to the SQL servers. You can go to each database properties, date created when it is showing. Okay, just a minute, it is still loading. So if you go to any database properties, there you can see one value called date created when it was showing 4/8/2003. Okay, 4/8/2003, it was created in the year of 2003. Like that, if you go to any database, you can see the date created, guys. Okay, so date created for every database, you can see the date created and all. But if you go to the tempdb properties, you can see today's date. Okay, you can also see this is a model database 2003. So go to the tempdb properties, and if you check the tempdb properties date created, see here, guys, at what time, it was created.
Four.
Exactly 4th of April 2022, 7:12, guys. When we connected in the meeting, in front of you, I started my SQL server, if you remember. So exactly at 7:12, my SQL server is started, guys. So this is one way of finding when your SQL server last restarted. Okay, guys. If anyone is asked, hey, can you please check when your SQL server last restarted? Where to check, guys? One way, there are a lot of ways, but one way is checking your tempdb date creation date. So why? Whenever you restart the SQL server, a new tempdb will be created, as I said earlier. As per that definition, you can see the date is showing today's date and the time is showing okay 7:12:58, means exactly at 7:12:58 seconds your server is up and running, your SQL server is up and running, or your SQL server is rebooted during that time. Okay, 7:12, something around like that. So this is how, this is one way of finding, guys. Okay, this is one way of finding. There is another way also there. You can go to management, you can go to error logs. There also you can see the latest error log. So the latest error log will show you the date. Okay, so that is also one way of finding when your SQL server is last restarted. Okay, you can see here 4420 means current error log, means it will start tracking from the last restart. So from when it was tracking, from 7:11 it was tracking, means when it will start track, when you start the SQL server or when you restart the SQL server, this will start tracking the error logs. This will start tracking the logs of the SQL server. So if you see, it was created at 7:11 today's date, so that means your SQL server is started at 7:11, guys. Okay, started or restarted at 7:11. So this is another way of finding when the SQL server is last restarted. One way is tempdb properties, second tempdb properties date creation. Okay, second way is your current error log date and time. Okay, so this is how we can track when your SQL server is last restarted. And your tempdb, again it's a very critical database, crucial database. Without tempdb, there is no SQL server. All the processing will be done in the tempdb only. And very important point about the tempdb is it will store the data temporarily, so you don't see the data permanently for the tempdb. Once the processing is done, it will be truncated from the tempdb. Okay, so and whenever you restart the SQL server, a new tempdb will be created. New database, new database, new database. Listen this point. Okay, then now tell me, if my model is corrupted, why I can't start the SQL server? You know the answer now. Earlier we discussed if my model is corrupted, can I start the SQL Server or not? Most of you said yes. Okay. So now compare your model database and compare your one of the system database. Now tell me, if my model is corrupted, can I start the SQL Server or not? If no,
No, sir.
why?
Actually, it based MDB will create based on model rates.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. I am sure.
Are you sure again?
Yes, sir. I am sure.
Okay. Good guys. Okay. So it's very important. Okay. So that's correct. So whenever you restart the SQL Server, actually it won't impact directly. It will impact indirectly, guys. When model is corrupted, it won't impact directly. Okay. It will impact indirectly. How it will impact? Whenever you restart the SQL Server, new temp will be created. I said new temp DB, new DB, new DB, new DB. That's why I stressed new DB. So whenever it is creating a new database, of course it also have a lot of values, right? It also have a lot of values, files, file names, sizes, auto growth, files, file location. From where we'll get all these locations, paths and all from your model database. If model is down or if model is corrupted, how can you start the temp DB? If you can't start the temp DB, you can't start the SQL Server. Guys, you got the point now, everyone? So why
Yes,
we can't start the SQL Server if my model is not working? Everyone got the point? This point? Any doubts? Let me know, please. I'll help you to explain again. No issues. Any doubts? Any questions, guys? Model temp DB. No questions. Are we good? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so what is the other system database?
resource.
Resource database. Okay, so resource database, where I can say I cannot see actually in the system databases list. So let me write a query. Using this query, we can see all the databases in the SQL Server, guys. Okay, there are two queries. One is a query select query. Second one is a stored procedure. Okay, to see the
Underscore help
database
DB.
properties. Yes, yes.
SQL underscore help DB.
Very good. SQL underscore help DB. Okay, to see the database properties, to see the database sizes, database names, when it was created, to track all this information, we have two queries. One is SP help DB. Second one is select star from
Select
sys
start from
database.
sys databases.
Select star from sys databases or sister databases. Okay, let's go with the SP help DB. SP underscore help DB. Okay. So this is one stored procedure. SP means if any query started with SP means that is a stored procedure. Okay. If any query started with SP means that is a stored procedure. Now if I run this query, okay, now you can see all the databases information here. The database names, database sizes, who is the owner of this database, database IDs. When these databases are created earlier, I used it to see in the database properties, right? You can see for master, it shows 2003. For model also, it shows 2003. And for TempDB, you can see it is showing April 4th, 2022. Okay, and the status of the database, whether it is online, readable, read only, read write. Okay, so you can see, and finally compatibility level of the database. I'll explain about this compatibility level later. Okay, so nothing, if database belongs to 2017, if you see here in the SQL DBA classes nodes. Okay, let me open the SQL DBA classes nodes, guys. SQL DBA classes. If you see here, okay, so you can see it will create a folders. Okay, 100, 110. Okay, these are the compatibility levels. Okay, so if any database belongs to 2016, the compatibility level of the database will be 130. If any database belongs to 2017, the compatibility level belongs to 2014. So I'm sorry, 2017. If any database compatibility level is 150, okay, This database belongs to 2019, means compatibility level will help you to understand which version this database belongs to. For example, you restored this database from this server to another server, sales database. You just restored from this server to another server. Imagine this is 2017, right? You just restored in 2019. When you restore this database, you can see the compatibility level still as 140. Why? Because you restored 140 compatibility level database. For 2019, what will be the compatibility level, guys? 19 compatibility level 150.
150.
Same like folders. Okay, 150. That means if you restore this sales database in 2019 server, you can see two databases. Okay, this sales database compatibility level will be 150 140, and in that SQL server, all other databases compatibility levels will be 150, guys. That is how you can understand the meaning of compatibility level, means which will help you to identify which version this database belongs to. If it is showing 100, guys, to which version it was belongs to? 100. Compatibility is showing as 100.
2008
8 or 8 or
2008, 8 or 8 or 2. For both, compatibility level is 100 only. Okay. So 2000, either 2008 or 2008 or 2. If you see 100 here, that means okay, chalo, sales database belongs to SQL Server 2008. Can we change the compatibility level, guys? Is it possible? Any guess? We cannot change the compatibility level. Okay, chalo. So we can change the compatibility level. Okay, rightly go to the properties of the database. You can go to lower versions, you cannot go to higher versions. Let me show you. Go to options. There you can see compatibility level. Okay, SQL Server 2014 up to 2008 you can go. Okay, 130, 120, whatever you want. That means what, guys? If you click OK now, you can change it. Happily you can change the compatibility level, means you can go to lower versions. If you are 2017, if you are using 2017, all the databases belongs to 140. So you can still change it to, okay, lower versions, guys. If you see here, Flipkart database compatibility level I changed, and you can see 120 here. That means it will behave like a 2000. 120 means what, guys? 2014. 2014. 110 means 2012, 120 means 2014, 130 means 2016, 40 2017, 50 2019. Okay, so it will still behaves like a 2014 database, even though it is in the 2017 server. It will behave like a 2014 database. Any scenario, I will downgrade the compatibility level. So Dendra, okay, so I'll tell you, during a performance tuning, okay, we don't usually downgrade the compatibility level. 99% we don't do that, but we'll upgrade it. In the migration concept, you can came to know, guys, you just restored a 2017 database, okay, from 2017 to 2019. Whenever you migrate, while migrating, we are going to take the backup of the database and we'll restore it to the into the server. Okay, 2019 server. So in such cases, all your databases should belongs to one compatibility level. As you restored from lower version to higher version, you have to upgrade your compatibility level. There it will allow you. Why? Because it depends on the your SQL Server main SQL Server version. So it will allow you to upgrade there. To downgrade, very rare cases will downgrade, but 99% we don't downgrade. But I am showing you, there is a way we can downgrade it. There is a way to downgrade. So that's how we are going to downgrade. 99% we don't downgrade. Okay, we'll upgrade during migration process, but we don't downgrade, guys. Is it clear? Any doubts, any issues? Clear, guys, about compatibility levels, where we can see. Okay, right, 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 right. Once, okay, done. Okay, so this is how you can see the compatibility levels, and you can change the compatibility levels. Yes, you can upgrade and you can downgrade the compatible levels. Depends upon the scenario. Depends upon the scenario. You can upgrade and you can downgrade the compatible level also. But can anyone see resource database here? Flipkart, you can see, of course, user database, master, model, MSDB, tempdb, you can see. Then you can see sales database. You don't see resource database. But where is that resource database? And we'll go for another query. Select star from, okay, sys dot, why my server is
Databases.
slow, okay. See here executing query. If you see here, you can see it like this, okay. If until it completed execution, till then you cannot run any query in this window. If you want to run any query, you can open new query window and you can run it. And you can see here execute button also degraded. You can see only one button, stop button. Of course, you can see there it was completed, right? So that's why execute again highlighted. So here also you don't see any of the, okay, what we can say, any of the I mean resource database. You don't see resource database here also. You can only see your system databases and then user databases. So this is how it will work, guys. You cannot see resource database. But where is that? What is the proof? Go to your physical location. I'll show you physical files. If database is there, means there should be physical files, right? Data files, log files concept, it won't miss even though the database is in hidden state. The data file concept and log file concept, it can't miss, guys. That is the architecture of the database or architecture of the SQL server. So for resource database also you will have data files and log files. I'll show you the data files and log files of resource database. That is the only proof we have. So other than that, we don't see the resource database, okay, in the management studio, guys. Okay, let me go to C, program files. Okay, see program files, Microsoft SQL Server. Here MS SQL. Okay, instance root directory, MS SQL,
MS SQL.
right? Usually you can see other system databases and user databases by default. By default will be stored in this folder, guys, data folder. Other system databases and user database data files and log files. This is Flipkart data file, log file. How to identify immediately, quickly, guys, which is data file and which is log file? Of course, you can see underscore log.
Underscore log.
Okay, that is
Okay.
one way. And without checking this underscore log, you can see there is a difference in the icon. Okay, for data file, you can see table. For log file, you can see small notepad. Okay, so that means that is your log file. By just looking the images, you can identify which one is data file and log file. Here also you can see Flipkart data file log file is there, master data file log file is there, model data file log file is there, MSDB data file log file is there, sales data file log file is there, tempdb data file log file is there. But you don't see resource database data file and log file. Go back once. Okay. So here go to bin and folder, bin n. Okay. Folder. If you go down there, you can see two files. This is your MS SQL system resource. MS SQL system resource. Now you don't see underscore log, right? Now you want to identify which one is data file and log file. How to identify? By using the icons. Or
Data.
else you can maximize this window. You can maximize this type of the file, expand it like this. There also you can see SQL Server database transaction log file, primary data file. So this is how you can see the resource database, guys. Okay, only this is the proof. Both files will have same name, but extension would be different. One is MDF, second one is LDF, guys. Okay, so what is this resource database? In which way it will be helpful? So resource database is the husband of master database. Okay, master and resource both are husband and wife, guys. Both are husband and wife. Whatever data you are storing in the master, the same data will be stored in the resource database also. Whatever data you are storing in the master, the same data will be stored in the resource database. In the master database, things will be stored logically. In the resource database, things will be stored physically. That is the only difference between your master and a resource. You can call them as lovers, you can call them as wife and husband. Without master, no resource database. Without resource, no master database. Okay, so both are wife and husband. Okay, so all the things, whatever things you are storing in the master, the same things will be stored in the resource database. And resource database is responsible for storing version of the server, SQL server. The version, the bill number you can see, right? This bill number actually you are getting from your resource database only. The bill number information will be stored in the resource database. Okay guys, okay guys, the bill number information will be stored in the resource database. Okay, so if you are patching the SQL server, okay, that means you are indirectly patching the resource database. That why? Because when you patch the SQL server, the version will be changed, right? The bill number will be changed, third part and fourth part will be changed when you patch. Okay, so that that will be changed in the resource database, guys. Means indirectly you're patching resource database. If you patch resource database, automatically your SQL server will be patched. Okay, so resource is that much important, guys. So due to security reasons, security concerns, you cannot see resource database. So that is the main challenge. You cannot see resource database in the management studio, but physically you can see. Okay, in the location, okay, drive, whatever path is there, in that location you can see the files physically, but you don't see any entry in the management studio, guys. Okay, so that is all about your resource database. Any questions?
What default
No,
size
sir.
of all the database? This
What
one.
is default?
Default size of MDF and LDF.
Default size of the MB, you tell me the answer. There is no specific answer for that, but whenever you create the database, what is the size of the data file and log file? Did you remember that value?
Minimum,
Eight
minimum is 8
8
MB.
MB.
8 MB, 8 MB and 8 MB, right? So who will decide that value? Now tell me that 8 MB, 8 MB.
Creator, database creator.
Sorry,
Who create database?
By default.
by default you will get it.
The
Who create
default
the
value.
database? Of
Yeah.
course, who create the database have a chance to increase the size. I agree with that. But 8 MB, how you are getting? Who decides that 8 MB? Who will decide, guys? You know the answer. You all know the answer. How you are getting a
Model database.
correct model database? Your model database size is data file size and log file size. See here. Okay, so for example, go to the properties. Let me change the model database values now. And now I'm going to file space. Let it be 8, right? I'll keep it as a 80. Okay, I'll keep it as a 80. And for this, why what happened? Let me add as 0. Okay, number is locked. Okay, 80. And this one I'll keep it as 85. Okay, let me click OK. Okay, now let me create a new database. Now what is the size? So now tell me
Asking for
what
some
is the default
master and
value?
MSDB temp designs.
Sorry,
I'm asking for master model and temp or MSDB or temp DB. Because interview are asking these questions. What is the default size of master database? What is the
that
default
you cannot
size of
tell. That
temp?
you cannot tell. See, it depends upon the version to version. It will change. If you ask what is the default size of master model, you can tell 8 MB, 8 MB.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
master MSDB, temp DB, you cannot tell. Okay, if 99 percentage, it will take the template temp DB also. You can tell like 8 MB, 8 MB. Or might be he is just checking whether you know about model database or not. The sizing will comes from your model database or not. Whether you know this point or not, he's just checking with you. That's it. Okay. So your size of the new databases will be okay. Uh, Depends on your model database. The size of the newly created database depends on your model database. If you want to check the default value when you install SQL Server, just check what is the master database default size, okay, and tempdb default size. You can check it, okay. So you can check, you know how to check it. So you can tell the answer, but that's not a correct answer. Why? Because it might be vary from version to version. Okay, I don't agree with that. Okay, so some people will be there. What they will do, simply they will Google the questions and they are going to simply ask you the questions. Okay, no one. That's not a correct way of asking questions. What is the default size of for master database? Why? Because it might depends version to version. You cannot say that. TempDB you can tell. Why? Because TempDB will be created new when you restart the SQL server. While creating, it depends on model database, of course. What is the model database default size and log file, model database data file and log file size default size is the same size will be carried for the tempdb. Okay, if still you ask like that, you can go and check what is the okay default values for each version and make a note of it, and you can remember if you want, if you can. Okay, that's fine. Any other questions? Right. So resource database we discussed it, right? So every object, as discussed, every object will have an id, guys. Every object will have an id. Database will have a database id. Table will have a table id or object id. File will have a file id. Okay, so in the SQL server, every object will have its own id, guys. Logins will have sid, IDs, okay, identifiers, IDs will be there. Okay, so for the same, you'll have for databases also database IDs will be there. So if you see here under this column, this is master, right? Database ID, for master database ID is 1, guys. After that, TempDB, the database ID is 2, model ID is 3, and MSDB ID is 4. So first 4 IDs will be allocated to your system databases. Master 1, as master is so critical, so master 1. After master, all the data processing will be done in the TempDB. So TempDB is 2. Okay, model database is 3 and MSDB is 4, guys. MSDB is least critical database, so that's why MSDB ID is 4. And importance wise, master is very important, then TempDB is very important, then of course your model is very important, then finally your MSDB is important. So if anyone asks what are the IDs of say system databases, master 1, after that master tempdb is so important, so tempdb 2, then model 3, then msdb 4. Okay, you have to remember these values. If I ask you now, tell me guys, when you start the SQL server, which database will come to online first?
Master.
Master.
Very good.
Master database.
After master,
Model.
temp tempdb
tempdb. Very good.
Model.
Next,
Model.
model. Next, guys, please type your answers,
After
the
master.
order, okay, in which order the system database will start when you restart the SQL server. This is an interview question, guys. Okay, please type your answers in the chat in which order the databases are going to start when you start the SQL server. Think logically and tell me the answer. Okay, till now only 5 people are responded. Please mute it, getting disturbance.
mm,
21 people responded. 22. Good, good. All the people are responded, guys, this time. Or might be if any people responded multiple times. Let's see. Okay, okay. Done. Okay, so let me check your answers. Oh, 24 people responded. Okay. So Vinod said master temp model. Okay. What about other database? MSDB. Sudhindra said master. Jayesh master model temp DB. Of course, MSDB. Master tempdb. Vinod said master tempdb model MSDB. Then new databases. Very good. Okay. Master model MSDB TempDB. Santosh. Arminder. Master TempDB model MSDB. Master TempDB model MSDB. Master model TempDB MSDB. Okay. Master TempDB. Master resource. Oh, Prasad. Okay. TempDB. Okay. Right, right. Okay, so let me tell you the answer. Shahin said master TempDB model. Okay, master model TempDB. Okay, guys, why you are missing the important point? I don't know, Gajanan. TempDB first, then master model MSDB. Okay, guys. Okay, so the answer is let's reconnect. Okay, let's reconnect. It is showing 1 minute. Please reconnect using the same link, guys, immediately.